face temptation and the tempter? Wouldn't you like to have Christ tonight who can forgive the past? He transforms you, and you become a new creation in Christ.
Can we please use that?
Hey!
Welcome to the Bones Q&A podcast. This is Jared,
And this is Sean, and we are the Backstreet Boys.
and we are both talking directly into the mics the way that Derek would like it and the way that it is best for your listening experience.
Ooh, that's good.
Yep. 3 questions today, Sean. 1, why is Satan trying to attract you, and why is it so important to him? Number 2, if someone asked, if heaven is so great, why don't you kill yourself now? What would you say? And number 3, when was the Bible invented?
Invented.
Invented. Sean, why don't you
In the
take it away with
beginning.
numero uno?
All right, hey, so a lot of questions about angelic beings and the demonic on this show. I feel like kids are really working through that stuff a lot. Well, hey, bottom line, the name Satan is indicative of his role. The name Satan means adversary or opponent. And so in a sense, Satan is in opposition to God. So why is it important to him? Well, that's his nature. That's his role. Why is it important for one football team to beat another football team? Because that's their role. That's their job. And so Satan is pursuing us because it's lonely in hell without us. And so he knows that his fate is condemned. And I think that in the meantime, he is trying to take down as many as he possibly can. Yeah, so anyway, in 1 Peter 5:8, Peter talks about Satan being your enemy, the devil. In Zechariah, Joshua stood before the angel of the Lord, and it said that Satan stood at his right side to accuse him, that it was the devil's job to bring accusation, to bring an adversarial relationship to God, to oppose God. Nowhere in the Bible does it say that he's got a red suit, tail, and a pitchfork. We see the devil's existence all through Scripture, and I think that at the end of the day, it's his nature. So why is it important to him? It's because that's who he is. It's what he does.
I think it's important to note as we're looking just at the way that the question is even phrased, why is Satan trying to attract you? And that's exactly what he does, is he tries to make sin appear attractive, and he in himself is attractive. He is an angel of light, as we read in Corinthians. You know, so that's something to always recognize, is that his goal is to not put us off. I mean, you know, if he was trying to do that, then he would probably have the appearance of, you know, a horned red being with a pitchfork and bifurcated tail, but that's not the case. He was created as an angel of light who, in fact, had to fall and fell from God's grace because he was beautiful, and he recognized that and said that he was like God. Mm-hmm. And so always have to keep our eyes open for the fact that the sin that Satan presents us with is attractive.
That's true. I mean, he's the tempter. He's the father of lies. That's what Jesus calls him, right? So we got to watch out.
And how strange that we'll be learning all about sin and how attractive sin is this week in Bones.
Ooh.
Can you actually hear you from there on these?
Barely.
All right, Jared, here's the second question. If someone asked, if heaven is so great, why don't you kill yourself now? What would you say to that?
Sean, I know that I often sound like a broken record as I talk about purpose, and that each and every one of us is created with a purpose, but it is the truth. God has placed us here. That is, A, to have a relationship with him, to love him, and B, to share that relationship with others so others can experience the grace and the love that he has for them. And so we haven't just been put here for fun. We haven't been put here to just endure until we go to heaven and talk about how great heaven is, but we've been put here to share the love of God and the love of Christ with other people. Mm-hmm. And so it's not like we're just here on earth dealing with the things that we have to deal with now so that eventually we can go to heaven. But as we're here, you know, we're being refined by the fire. We're fulfilling the purpose that God has given us. Anyway, so that's how I would respond, and that's how I responded to you. And then we have question. What are you doing?
Instagram. I'm just Instagramming you
Oh, okay. As
I
long
want
as
the
it wasn't a
world
video.
to see how attractive you are
You can't edit a video.
to the rest of the world.
All right. Yeah, that's how I would answer. Then number 3, when was the Bible invented?
That's a great
what a
question.
loaded question.
Do you want to start? Or do you want me to start?
I think I'll start.
Okay.
So if we look at the Bible itself, if we look at the Bible that we have now in the 66 books, we have to recognize that they weren't all written at once. It wasn't like all of a sudden someone's like, let's compose this whole thing. Meow. No, it's been over the course of, several hundred years, a couple thousand years, in fact. We have the Pentateuch that for the most part is held by the church, was written by Moses. And then as we look at the remaining historical books and the books of the minor and major prophets, we see that as being written, by exiled Jews in Assyrian and Babylonian captivity. And then as we move forward and we look at the Gospels, these are written by disciples or elders, however people want to argue the authorship. And then we go further and we see letters written by Paul or John or Peter. So there's a lot of authors that composed the Bible that gave us the Bible that we have now. Mm-hmm. And so it's a matter of how those books were compiled, because there were a lot of other books that people counted as being inspired, which basically means written by God. God gave those authors the words to write, that they were divinely inspired by him, that didn't exactly make the cut. Mm-hmm. And so I think the real question is, we see it's from multiple authors, but how did we choose those books, or how do we get those books that we finally compiled or canonized into the Bible that we have now?
Yeah, sure. I mean, there was a council that met called Council of Nicaea, and it was held in Carthage in AD 397. And when they were there, they asked kind of 3 simple questions. Is the book apostolic in origin? Was the book used and recognized by churches of that time? And did the book teach sound doctrine? That kind of tied in with, itself, didn't contradict itself. Jared, why don't you expound on apostolic?
Apostolic would be that it was written by a reputable author, someone that was recognized, not like Joe Blow, random guy in Ephesus, but that it was written by someone that people knew, so that they recognized that it wasn't a random person.
Like Oprah.
Like Oprah. I would not. If Oprah was in the Bible. Everyone gets a free washer. Let's not put this in there.
Hey, Jared, I think we did it with these questions.
I think we did. Yeah, we.
Awesome. Hey, message us your questions at BonesNCCTK on Facebook, and we'd love to continue to address them and answer to them to the best of our abilities, which is pretty stinking awesome. I am now going to go eat my leftover lettuce from Jake's that was packaged by my waitress, and enjoy the rest of my day. Hope you do too. Peace to your mothers.
Okay, bye.